What is a payroll tax audit? So a payroll tax audit is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's the government coming in and doing a check to make sure payroll tax was being paid properly. So from a practical perspective, there are a couple of different ways where payroll tax audits go awry. Number one is in the reporting of actual payroll. Number two is in the reporting of how the tax was calculated. For most businesses, particularly if they're using a third-party payroll services, you're not going to find too many errors with this. Most people report payroll correctly because people get paid and people like to make sure they get paid accurately. And then the tax calculations are fairly automatic. So the actual check to make sure payroll is being paid and tax is being paid, although part of the payroll tax audit process, is not really a huge component of it for most businesses. It can be for some, but not for most. The real components of a payroll tax test are whether or not there are other payments that were made outside of payroll that should have been taxed. And what that falls into is that falls into two categories. Number one, it falls into payments on the general ledger that are being made to either A, the officers, which should have been taxed as wages, and therefore subject to payroll tax, or payments being made to others, which should have been taxed as wages and therefore subject to tax. So the most common situation we see with payroll tax audits is going after independent contractors and 1099s. And this has been a really big issue in California recently, but the government is making a significant effort to make sure that independent contractor relationships really are independent and those people aren't employees. So what happens at a payroll tax audits with these 4 different tests is the government is kind of going through and probing this and determining whether or not payroll tax has been paid, and then if there's an error, they'll collect their payroll tax.